very high voltage breaking news. Israeli foreign minister says Gaza war could end if hostages are released and Hamas disarms. He has given two terms. This statement offers a potential path toward de-escalation in the region. On the other part of the world, we can see another development of news. Japan's prime minister is considering resignation, facing political turmoil and internal party conflict. Ishiba will step down to avoid a split within the ruling rival Democratic Party. Sir, how do you see these breaking news are coming from different parts of the world? I want to ask this question.
Well, I mean, wouldn't anybody be worried about the destabilization that's almost everywhere you look? I mean, if it's going to be, it's in Japan, okay, that's the situation on the ground. There's riots everywhere. There's riots in Serbia, people marching in the streets. There are riots in Japan. There are riots in Brazil and Venezuela and in the United States cities. So this period of constant disruption in civic affairs should be a concern for every country. But as you pointed out, the UN General Assembly has to look at that. You know, what is driving that? What is the cause of all of this disruption? And it has to have an economic dimension and a political dimension. And I think that, you know, I look at it in terms of like too many changes have been generated too quickly by the Washington administration. And it is destabilizing so many countries and so many situations around the world. It may be they're not the cause of it so much, but the whole environment is creating some kind of issues, I think, that need to be addressed at the United Nations level, even given the fact that they're not really a decision-making body anymore.
Right, sir. Let's ask a question, though he's an American. But I know he has a very bird's eye observation on the Trump administration, and he will be very honest to put his own comment as a citizen of America and as a global citizen. He's very experienced, very respectable and very distinguished. Sir, what are the implications of Trump's proposed new sanctions on Russia for the ongoing Ukraine war? And he has imposed 69 countries the same tariffs, which is called TTT, Trump Tariff Tsunami.
I didn't hear that, but I think that's great. You know, Trump, as Norman has pointed out, he's totally unpredictable. He's not operating from a firm policy foundation. It's idiosyncratic. He's making his own decisions. He's the king. And so whatever he says he gets up in the morning and all of a sudden he's got a whole new bunch of things he wants to do. Change the name of the Defense Department after what, 65 years, you know? We're going to do stop this or start that or whatever. He's a very unpredictable and therefore dangerous kind of a policymaker. But I don't think that the sanctions that he is recommending, most of them are going to require congressional approval. I think it's going to take time. It's sort of like just a bit of enacting, okay? And I think that he's like, on one hand, he's totally schizo. On one hand, he's like invites Russia to come and meet him in Alaska, and then 2 weeks later, he's talking about sanctions on Russia, as opposed to like, well, I had no, as you pointed out earlier, I had no effect at all on getting peace with Russia when I met him in Alaska, and so now I'm going to slap them around. And it's just frightening that there's such a complete lack of coherence in America's approach to so many of the world problems. So I think that the implications of the sanctions are that people are just simply going to say, be pretty dismissive that, well, these will never be implemented anyway, so he's just talking again. That would be my take. I mean, I don't mean to be, don't forget, I'm not an official American. I'm just a guy who happens to be from Boston, live in Baltimore, and so I'm just a guy. But I do think that my study of Trump and my involvement in politics has enabled me to have an insight into how improbable American foreign policy is these days in the hands of someone who is just simply unpredictable.
How do you see this time in Bangladesh? Bangladesh has got a change. Caretaker government took charge, who has the worldwide reputation. His cabinet declares an election, country heading into an election. People are in election mood, but law and order is still need to be developed. I want your very expertise comment on this, sir.
Well, I consider myself, if not an expert, at least a specialist in decentralization. And I believe that the long-term solution for law and order is to empower local officials and empower the police at the local level, and to make sure that we're not only counting on DACA for the purpose of establishing law and order and peace. And so I believe in decentralization. I also believe in the redistribution of national revenue down to the local level to give people an opportunity. Now, people are restless because they have no jobs. People are restless because the situation is not clear enough to them about what's going to happen after the election. We already saw that the revenue projections are going to be well below the estimates, it seems. I'm hoping for the best. I spent 10 years here. This is a wonderful place for me. I'm very, very happy in this environment. My colleagues all tell me that, what are you, crazy? This is Bangladesh. But I think it's been very wonderful for me. I've had good opportunities to be here. I use it as a base for my work outside of the country, in Ghana and Uganda and Sri Lanka and so forth. So I'm kind of optimistic, but I'm very guarded about, can we really afford to do this kind of spend the money on elections as opposed to the kind of programs that are necessary to give people an opportunity for work at the local level.
One very short question, sir, I need to do before I quit, because Bangladesh is now a geopolitical attention because of its geopolitical or geographical location.
Sure.
Because of South Asian politics and geopolitical situation. What do you think? Bangladesh should move forward with the Western alliance, or to concentrate on the business with the Easterns? I mean, directly China.
Well, that's getting into sort of like a really international politics at the ambassador and State Department level, and I'm not there. I would say that Bangladesh is always going to want to be associated with the West because of their export regime. That the people who are buying their products are in Europe and the United States. So that export orientation, as opposed to dealing with China and the East, would suggest to me that their future rests with the developed countries in the West, because that's where they're going to be selling all of their goods.